The College Basketball Experience Summer Coaches Tour, Tennessee Tech head coach, Coach John Pelphrey edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up today using that promo code TCESGPN to get your first time deposit offer up to $250 bonus in cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And welcome everybody into the College Basketball Experience, another edition of the Summer Coaches Tour. We're diving into the Ohio Valley, one of my favorite leagues. You guys know me as the former Austin Peay governor. So let's go over to Cookeville, Tennessee, and sit down with the head coach of the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, Coach John Pelphrey. Coach Pelphrey, he's been around, man. Coach had a good run at South Alabama. He won an NCAA tournament game at Arkansas. He's been with Billy Donovan at Florida, multiple stints at Marshall, played at Kentucky for Coach Pitino. So a wealth of knowledge within college basketball. And it was great to sit down with him, pick his brain, and just talk about his tenure so far in Cookeville and what's to come for this upcoming season. First off, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. Also known as Mac Tonight over here at the College Basketball Experience. Happy hour to everybody. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. Like I said, enjoying these Coaches Tour interviews, and we got plenty on deck. We got 3 more this week, so fired up to go five days a week with the Summer Coaches Tour. Couldn't do it without you guys. Real quick before we sit down with Coach Pelphrey, we gotta talk about Underdog Fantasy because you need to sign up with the promo code right above me, TCESGPN, to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by that Game Time app. All you Tennessee Tech fans out there in Cookeville, football season's coming, man. You're going to want to get over there and get the Game Time app so that you get the best tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Use our promo code CFBX, or you can check out the Tennessee Volunteer game if you're a Tennessee Vols fan. So make sure you download that app, redeem code CFBX to get $20 off. Download the Game Time app, last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back here on the College Basketball Experience, I've teased it out enough. With further ado, let's bring on the head coach of the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, Coach John Pelphrey. And we continue our Summer Coaches Tour on the College Basketball Experience with the head coach of the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, Coach John Pelphrey. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good. Coach, just fill everybody in what you've been up to in Cookeville this summer. I know the season ended a couple months ago, and we are nearing the end of July.
Yeah, I think, we've always been extremely busy evaluating your team, evaluating the season, trying to figure out who's staying, who's going, and then putting your roster back for the upcoming basketball season, which is coming super fast. So we're back here with training camp, working guys out. It's been really good. Excited to spend some time with these young men, helping them get to know each other, develop some camaraderie, some culture, those types of things. And it's been really good. I'm very, very excited about this group.
That's great to hear. You guys were really exciting 2 years ago when you almost got to the dance. But Coach, let me rewind back to 1988 to 1992. You played for Big Blue Nation. Just talk about how special it was playing in front of that proud fan base, and also just when you knew you wanted to get into the coaching side of things.
Well, obviously, I have an unbelievable love affair with my alma mater, and it's the only place that I ever wanted to play. And it was everything I could imagine and more. It wasn't always easy by any stretch of the imagination. I was a part of the only losing season in the history of school till a few years ago, and had a coaching change. There was a part of probation, this, that, and the other. Some things that were really, really hard, but it also we learn a lot from hard. Hard's got to be handled, and because of Coach Pelphrey, because of CM Newton, and a guy named Jamal Mashburn, we were able to kind of overcome a lot of those things. So, yeah, my time there is shaped and formed me for all the things that kind of come at me as an adult, both professionally and personally, and I'm very, very fortunate and grateful. I've played for a bunch of great coaches. Was on some really, really good teams, and I think when those things happen, when you get around really good people, when you get a chance to be a part of really good teams, you start trying to seek that out in your next stop or wherever you go. So that was important. When did I decide I wanted to get into coaching? I don't know. It was probably my freshman year of college. It just came very clear to me of how much I really enjoyed the locker room, the camaraderie, being around the guys. Basketball has taken me around the world. I've never really had to have a real job. My dad always told me when I was growing up, he said, sooner or later, you got to stop playing around and get a real job. And so I'm still trying to prove him wrong. God rest his soul. But, yeah, I think that the one thing I will say is why I got into coaching is not why I coach now. Those are totally different things. It was kind of like a natural progression for me, I guess, going from playing to coaching. I think in the beginning, it's a lot about competition. You're still kind of an adrenaline junkie, so to speak. You love the games. You love competing, especially at the level that I was playing at and had a chance to get into coaching at. Recruiting is very, very competitive. The individual instruction, helping guys play or develop. But then as a coach, I think you go through different phases, right? And your priorities change, where you start seeing things a little bit different. And you start to realize that this is really about relationships. It's about having an impact. It's about helping somebody do something better than they were before when they got to you. And it can, even as a head coach, it becomes a situation where you want to not only do right by the team in the school, but you want to do right by your coaches, and you want to encourage them and try to inspire them to work you out of a job, be a better coach than I am, and you can take this over from me someday and do it better than I do it. So there's a lot of things that kind of go into that coaching of why I do it now as opposed to maybe what I did when I first got into the game.
That's great insight, Coach. And let me ask you this. So you go to Oklahoma State, then you're at Marshall, then you're at Florida before you're head coach. There's some pretty good bosses you work for. You mentioned it. Coach, you played for Coach Pitino, you played for Coach Sutton, then you go work for Coach Sutton, then you go work for Billy Donovan. Just talk about what you took from each thing that you took from one of those guys, because they've all had unbelievable careers.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be 3 Hall of Fame coaches, right? And Coach Sutton brought me to college basketball as a player and as a coach. So I'm eternally grateful to him and his family. Sean and I were roommates. We were both in each other's weddings. Just very, very humbled and thankful that those guys have been a part of my life for a long period of time. The one thing about Coach Sutton, not only was he a Rolls Royce coach, Dick Vitale a long, long time ago, he had his Rolls Royces of coaches, right? And Coach Sutton was one of those guys, but incredible human being. a gentleman, class act, and just the way he treated everybody around really showed us how you could do both, right? And Coach Pitino obviously gave me a career. I hadn't played very much until him, and it was, even though he talked in a foreign language to me being a kid from the South and him being a New Yorker, I had no idea what he was saying about half the time. I just know it was really important. He scared me to death. Sounded like a mob boss, and he was always telling me he was going to kill me. But just to his level of communication and his ability to get us to understand how important it was to work hard every second of the day. Yeah. And that if we did that, you're going to see growth and development. And then all of a sudden it became an internal thing where he wasn't having to say very much for us to go and work hard, do those things, be curious, and be a learner. Just a huge, huge impact on my life as a player. Really, really understood what he was trying to say, what the game plan, the strategies that we were trying to do. Just the relationship I had with him and obviously he had with us was amazing. Billy has probably been the most influential male in my life outside of my father. Taught me everything there was to know from a coaching perspective, quite honestly, especially the recruiting piece of it. He was incredibly patient. I'll never forget when I was at Marshall and I'm there. I'm 24, 25 years old, no more than 26. And I'm in my office. I had a yellow legal pad and a phone on my desk, nothing else. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I had no idea what to do. And so I kind of grabbed my yellow legal pad, went into his office, and I worked off the corner of his desk for the next 3 months. There's no way I'm doing that for somebody today. And so I think about those things and just the patience he had with me to teach me and to mentor me and to kind of get me started. As I said in the beginning to all this, I've just been very fortunate and blessed.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. You work for those guys. You guys have success clearly. That's why they're going to be Hall of Famers. You become a young head coach at South Alabama in the Sun Belt. You rebuild it. Year 4 and 5, you guys win 20-plus games back to back. Talk about now looking back on it. What was it like being a head coach, taking over your own program, being your own person, your own identity after working for such great guys?
Well, it's different now. I'll tell you. You know, as an assistant coach, you basically repeat what the head coach wants. You champion that cause. You take his talking points. You share that with the players. You share that with the families. You share that with whoever you speak to, fans or media, whatever the case may be. And I'll never forget this strange experience at my press conference at South Alabama. I've got 2 dialogues going on in my head. One, I am speaking to the crowd as I'm being introduced, the media that were there, and I'm also having another one myself. Everything you say right now, you are going to be held accountable for, and that's an incredibly weird feeling. Yeah. So it is different. It's something that you can't really explain. You have to experience. Coach Van Gundy said something to me one time that it was really proven to be true. He said, embrace the hard times, because when they come, you'll find out what you really, really believe in. That is what you'll talk about. That is what you'll do the next day in practice. And I think for me, there's a lot of things that are really important to being a coach and being a leader, but getting these young men to understand how important their effort is, but more importantly, their attitude and body language. You just can't be good if you don't have really good attitude, body language, and your effort.
Yep. And Coach, so you guys get to the tournament at South Alabama. That creates an opportunity to be the head coach at the University of Arkansas. You go there for 4 years. You win an NCAA tournament game. Talk about just like jumping from a South Alabama to a crazy fan base like Arkansas that's passionate about their basketball.
Yeah, so we were really excited about our last 2 years there in Mobile, because we put a lot of hard work in prior to that. Inherited a program. It was on probation, down some scholarships, and nobody's going to remember this, but We also had to deal with the 8-5 rule, which means you could only sign a maximum of 8 guys in a 2-year period. Think about that in today's time.
Uh-huh.
You sign 8 guys every year now.
Yeah.
And to be able to win back-to-back championships. And then when we left and went to Arkansas, the team that we left behind actually got in a large bid with Ronnie Arrow. So we were glad we left a place in a pretty good spot too. Going to Arkansas was awesome. We loved it, me and my family there. It was a lot like where I grew up in the state of Kentucky. They're consumed by the Razorbacks. If it squeals, it's important to them. But they're also their families, their jobs, what they do on a daily basis. Those are the things they focus on, the people of that state. And it was really cool. It felt comfortable for me. I loved it. It was a lot of learning. There was a lot of things I think that I could have done better. Certainly, I know there's some things that from Arkansas side of it could have been more helpful as well. But it was an opportunity for me to understand that of where I could get better and things that I was lacking in to become a better coach if I ever wanted to get back into leadership. But our time there was awesome. We did do some good things from a recruiting standpoint. We did some good things in terms of winning an NCAA tournament game. Mm-hmm. And got a lot of really, really good friends. Special place.
It is a special place. It's a crazy fan base. They're passionate when they do that chant, the Woo Pig Suey. But, Coach, from there, so you go back to Florida now. What was it for you? Why were you a better assistant coach the second time versus first time? Everybody always says you get better and better with experience, lessons learned. What was it like being an assistant coach the second go-around after being a head coach for 9-10 years already?
Well, I think it's just what I said earlier. I was able to take care of myself. I was able to do my job and then start helping other people, as opposed to having to go with Billy with every little thing in terms of what it is. What do you want me to do? And I think I really understood him, what he wanted, what he expected, ways we could help protect the program, in terms of how we want to conduct ourselves, how we want to operate on a daily basis. It wasn't something that I come to and had to figure out because I had played for him. I had worked for him for 8 years. So I think I was able to do some of those things and only come to him with the things that, that he really needed to kind of deal with as a head coach. So, but at the end of the day, make no mistake about it, the Eddie Suttons, the Rick Pitinos, and the Billy Donovans, those guys can handle college basketball just about without any of us. But I think, as an assistant coach, when you get a chance to work with one of those guys, it's how do I create value and how do I help and serve those around me?
Yeah, and so you do 2 stints, Florida, Alabama. Now you take the Tennessee Tech job back in 2019. So you're taking over a program in 2019. That kind of seems like 10, 15 years ago at this time now with all the changes. What's been the biggest transition for you with not only just going through the COVID year, but then you got the NIL changes and you got the portal changes? I don't think really anybody has any idea where this could be going and what the answers are. At your level in the OVC, what's been the biggest transition over the last 5 years?
Yeah, Ryan, I don't know if there is the biggest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, right? So there's always the challenges of rebuilding a program. The next 2 years, our team got shut down each year with COVID. There was also off-campus recruiting restrictions in there for 2 years. You couldn't go off campus. They couldn't come on campus.
Yep.
Then you had the transfer portal. Then you've got NIL and collective. Then this past season, you got the double transfer. When we first came in the league here, you had Belmont, Murray, Jacksonville State, Eastern Kentucky, Austin P were all in our league. It was an unbelievable bus league for us. Now it's not that looks totally different. I don't know which one of those I could tell you was the biggest obstacle or challenge, because those are all major changes. The things we do today from a coaching perspective in terms of putting your team together, how we operate, things you got to consider and think about, your practices of onboarding, your player development, These things are all totally different. Nobody's going to be here for 2 and 3 years. You're going to have to come through the door with a guy. Experience is important. Yes, you got to get talent, but who can acclimate, who can understand the expectation, the role you have, do it, start doing it really well, and then become a leader. As a coach, you got to be able to put these teams together in less than 100 days. How do you get those guys all on the same page? It's easy sometimes to recognize talent. It's easy to understand sometimes recognize skill level. You might even be able to recognize a young man who has a certain level of basketball IQ. But one of these things they don't have is a button you can click or a category you can click when it comes to leadership. Yep. That's not a measurable skill when you start looking at synergy and things like that. So as a college coach, you still got to have a process and plan in place to where you call people, you have a network. I call up Ryan McIntyre and ask him, hey, listen, how's this guy view leadership? And you say, oh, he's the best. He'll sacrifice. He's disciplined. He's hardworking. He treats those guys fairly. That's why they trust him. And then I got to decide, okay, he gave me all this intel. Can I trust Ryan? Does he care about me? Does he care about the kid? Because we all know that it's one thing to get information. It's another thing to figure out if it's true. And so the mental energy it takes after the season's over to figure all these things out, because once you get to kind of like June 1st, maybe the middle of June, you no longer have the ability to do anything but your roster. It's set. And that's a different feeling. As opposed to when we used to sign a lot of guys in November after we recruited them for a year. There's no recruiting anybody for a year now.
Yeah. So do you treat the off season, or like this is the live period in July? Do you treat it completely different than you did 10, 15 years ago, which is the percentages say that they're going to be in the portal a year or two from now?
Yeah, it's not even close to being the same. I mean, in the past, we would have identified sophomores and juniors, especially the juniors, go out and spend a lot of time with them in terms of evaluating them, watching them play, trying to get them to your camps maybe in June. Try to really start a relationship, right, with your one phone call a week it used to be. Yep. And then you would try to set up a home visit sometime in September. You would try to get an on-campus visit in October, and then you would, if you did your job, you would sign guys in November. Just not the way it is anymore. We have no clue who we are going to be recruiting in April. None. Zero. Zip. And so 2 hours in our recruiting now in the spring feels like 2 days. 2 days of recruiting somebody feels like 2 weeks. If you actually recruit somebody for 2 weeks in the spring, it feels like 2 months. Like the time frame and the way it feels, it's totally different. And, you know, there's probably a group of people out there that don't like it. They may decide to, get out of the business or continue to complain about it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. These things aren't going away. You might as well get curious, start learning, and try to figure out ways to be the best you can at it. But your recruiting might be 2 weeks, but more realistic, it could be 2 days.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like you said, it's not going anywhere. So you either adapt or you perish, as they say. So, or adapt or get left behind. Coach, you've taken so much of your time. I know you're a busy man. I want to leave it with one last question for all the Tennessee Tech fans that will watch this. What's your message to all the fans in Cookeville as we head into year number 6 of the John Pelphrey era?
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm excited about is, we're heading into a different spot now, right? It's kind of getting a little bit back to normal from a standpoint of we're getting comfortable with all these things, the transfer portal, NIL, the double transfer. We're no longer having to deal with the pandemic. Our focus is just having and enhancing our relationship with Cookeville, our basketball team. I think it's really important for me. Our guys, they understand that this is about leadership, books, ball, and professionalism. I believe everything rises and falls on leadership. And if you're going to be a leader then you got to understand that it's important to get out and serve and not to be served. And so that's the thing, that our message that we're trying to do with our camps, taking our players into the community on this campus, is that we want a relationship with you. And at the end of the day, if they get to know us and we get to know them, we can partner up and build a better Tennessee Tech, build a better Cookeville. And because there's a lot of people here in our city, in our town, we got a lot of good things going on here in Cookeville. Cookeville is growing, getting better. The business community is doing a lot of things. There's a lot of things happening on our campus with our president. And we're trying to do the same thing with our athletic department and more specifically our basketball team.
Love it, yeah. And I love Cookeville. I was at the P for 2 years in the OVC, so I love the OVC, love Cookeville, love Tennessee Tech. Coach, thank you for stopping by the college basketball experience. Best of luck this season as you guys try and get over the hump in the OVC, and we look forward to having you back on.
Thank you, Ryan. Anytime.
Thanks, Coach. Head coach Coach Pelphrey of the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, talking some OVC hoops. He likes his team coming back next year. If you remember, 2 years ago, they were this close to getting to the NCAA tournament when they lost SEMO in that dramatic OVC final in Evansville. So they're going to try and get back there this year, challenging non-conference schedule. And the OVC with realignment is as open as it ever has been. So looking forward to watching Tennessee Tech and getting Coach Pelphrey back on the show in the future. Before we get out of here, we got to talk about Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Football season's coming, baby. So get over there, build your model with Rhythm, with the scientists. Week 1 in the NFL is right around the corner, as well as week 0 in college football. Get over there, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And we're also brought to you by Circa Survivor, Circa Millions. And if you don't have your trip booked for Viva Las Vegas, well, we can help you out there. The ultimate contest is great to hang out with Ryan and Sean, as well as enter into the famous contest at the greatest sports book in the world from August 22nd through 24th. And use our promo code SGP15 to save 15% off the hotel room for that sign-up weekend. And if you can't sign up in person, you can use our proxy. And you sign up in person between now and September 7th. But if you can't, use the proxy. Go over to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. All righty. Back on the college basketball experience. Before we wrap things up, I want to thank Coach Pelphrey again for taking the time to join the college basketball experience. We continue our summer coaches tour tomorrow with Coach Loeffler of the Loyola Maryland program there in the Patriot League as well. On Thursday, we got Coach Jordan Mincy coming on for the Jacksonville Dolphins and working on one more to release on Friday. So 3 more coming at you this week of the Summer Coaches Tour. Can't thank you guys enough. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Can't do this show without you guys. Your reviews and spreading of the college experience has really helped grow this show and pull off what we're doing right now with the Summer Coaches Tour. So go check out all the other channels. College Football Experience, we're there all year long as well. Me and NC Nick will be doing an underdog best ball lineup tonight. Go check out the Big 12 Experience with me, Rush, and Troy, breaking down all 16 teams. And back on that College Football Experience, all 134 team previews for you Tennessee Vol fans out there. That one's out there. FCS Experience, hey, Tennessee Tech, go check out that. They're breaking down Tennessee Tech Golden Eagle football as well. We all come together on youtube.com/the college experience. That's all I got. We'll see you tomorrow over here at the College Basketball Experience. I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. Mac tonight, signing off over here at the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.